bad man, no muggle in a shot. Straight jeans, cut off foot pants. Everybody have the axe when me get my clocks. Everybody have the axe when me get my clocks. The leather hard, the sweat soft. Toothbrush get out the dust fast. Everybody have the axe when me get my clocks. Everybody have the axe when me get my clocks. Prepping up. Clocks me prefer. Clocks for the leather, yeah, clocks.
That is Vybz Kartel with Clarks, his classic ode to what some might argue is the national shoe of Jamaica. Last night, Vybz Kartel played Toronto's Scotiabank Arena, his first ever show in Canada. Vybz Kartel is going to be there for 2 more shows this week. The historic shows were put together by Drake's company, OVO. Marlon Palmer was there last night, and he's feeling a little bit maybe underslept, but I'm glad that he's here. Marlon, how you doing, pal?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, dude. Let me start off by saying, why are these Vybz Kartel shows such a big deal for Canada's dance hall fans?
Well, he is the soundtrack to a majority of our lives, especially if you are Jamaican Canadian, first and now I guess second generation since I'm getting old. There are people
You're not
in
that
their
old, dude.
50s.
You're okay.
There are people in their 50s and 60s that were in the prime of their party life when Vybz Kartel was at his peak. And then is someone that went to jail for 13 years. We thought there was absolutely no way we were seeing him again, and we were happy to get the hits from a prison cell. But he got out, which was a crazy day. And since the day he stepped out, everybody in Toronto is wondering, when is Vybz Kartel gonna be here? And the night finally came, and he did not disappoint.
Okay, I was gonna say, tell me about the show. How was the show?
Show was amazing. It started late. I will say that it started late, but that is, I mean, very
That's
on
to be
brand for
expected.
Jamaican. Yeah. But everybody was kind of murmuring
Wait, how late
around.
did it start? Sorry.
He got on around 9:45, 9:50.
That's late.
Yeah, pretty late. And you know, as concert standards, 11 p.m. is usually cutoff time, right? After that is a fine. So everybody around me was like, "Oh, Drake paid the fee. We're good. It's going late." And that didn't end up happening. He got off promptly at 11.
Oh, no.
We had a performance by him as well as a little interlude by Drake for about 10 minutes, spinning some hits and performing a little bit. And yeah, it was a great show.
Okay, let's hear a little bit of the moment that Vybz Kartel stepped on the stage last night.
Toronto, make some noise for the world boss. I need you. Yo, big up the blue jazz.
I'm getting goosebumps.
I'm glad that you're getting goosebumps because, like, I'm just hearing that. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe that.
I got goosebumps all over again. Just to start with that song of all songs. First of all, he came out in the Blue Jays custom World Boss jersey, okay,
Yep.
with a baseball bat, swinging it and jumping up and down. All right, this is a 50-year-old man with Graves' disease. Okay, he was going crazy, and then to come out to that song specifically for Toronto. I don't know about anywhere else, but
Yeah.
that song is one of the best mixes that has ever happened in a Toronto party. And for him to start with that song specifically, he did his other song where he mentioned Jane and Finch. Everybody lost their mind. It was just chef's kiss.
Okay, but I hate to spoil the party, but can I ask you what the Drake of it all? Like, can I just bring that up a little bit? Okay, so these shows were put on by Drake's company, OVO. Drake's coming off a few L's, right? One, losing the beef with Kendrick, but then 2, maybe more importantly, pursuing that lawsuit against Universal Music Group, also tied to that Kendrick thing, and then the federal judge threw out that case. Then you got these shows that he's putting on, the Vybz shows that he's putting on. Do you see these shows as an attempt to maybe restore his credibility in some sense?
No, I don't. I think he did this with Wireless Fest earlier on in the year, and he promised that he would be bringing Vybz to Toronto for OVO Fest. Granted, it wasn't a normal OVO Fest, but I think he always had this. As soon as Vybz got out, Drake was a Toronto kid just like us in those parties. He knows how important this is, even though he's not Jamaican. And I think he knew his birthday was coming, and he could line it up perfectly with the two. So, and if anybody could work on a visa for a criminal, it's Drake. So I think he's the only person that could pull this off, and I'm happy he did it in a timely fashion because we didn't want to wait years to see him when the whole world has been watching him perform.
Of course. You heard our previous conversation about baseball, and I think it may be worth talking about this for a moment because if we can just come back to the Jays, Dodgers, Toronto, LA sort of beef, some people are sort of connecting the World Series, trying to map it onto the Kendrick and Drake beef, if you will, because one is the biggest rapper out of this town, and then the other one is from the other one. Just maybe give us a bit of the history real quick of the ways that the Jays are connected to Toronto's hip hop history.
Well, Jays, wow, like when you talk about Socrates, we talk about Maestro Fresh West, the amount of Blue Jays references, Cardinal. There's so many different references that connect back to hip hop, especially Canadian hip hop. And I feel like the Blue Jays just a logo. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a young man walk up to you with a Blue Jays hat with earmuffs that are attached to them, but you probably should walk in the other direction. Like that has its own, that's like Black Air Forces for Canada. It has its own connotation and meaning behind it that is so dangerous and scary that just walk away. That guy, he's up to no good. So there's so many different references with hip hop and in regards to Screwface Capital and the Blue Jays and all that. And I think that it's a beautiful thing. I mean, sports and music, the great unifiers, and we're getting both of them in the city at the same time at like the highest level that I can think of.
But then does it feel too convenient for you to go like, okay, the Jays and Dodgers are in the World Series, Drake and Kendrick, this feels like the same thing. Does it feel like a bit of a reach to you?
Yeah, I feel like that people just need a reference point at all times with anything. And so they go, okay, Toronto, LA, what's the last or what's the most important? And there's really been nothing between Toronto and LA outside of sports and Drake and Kendrick. So I think it's more of a blog thing, impressions and clicks type of thing to grab at those two. But I feel like they have nothing to do with this. This is completely different.
I'm surprised to hear you say that just because of the ways that sports and music are sort of so deeply connected, because I guess you would think that like, okay, if the biggest rapper out of this town, who are in the finals, is beefing with the biggest rapper out of that town who are also in the finals and playing one another, it sort of automatically kind of lends itself to saying, okay, this is a repeat of the same kind of beef or the repeat of the same kind of energy, doesn't it?
Well, it's interesting because we talked about how Blue Jays and hip hop are so closely connected or have so many intersections, but I don't notice the sport of baseball reaching out to hip hop, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
it's a one-way relationship, you will.
Yeah, with basketball, they would jump at this opportunity immediately. Football even would jump at this opportunity immediately, I feel like. But baseball, known as America's pastime, is very, they try to keep it very tame over there. And I think that rapidy stuff would mess with the PR of baseball. So I think that because it's like an obvious thing. If you want to blow up the sport even more, why wouldn't you have Kendrick perform? Why wouldn't you have Drake perform instead of the Jonas Brothers? Like, these are obvious things. So, and I also think the nature of the beef.
Okay.
The nature of the beef got a little too crazy, where it's like, okay, do we want to have Not Like Us performed? No, I don't think so.
No, and maybe I've heard enough about the beef personally. I don't sort of need to see another arena where this is transposed onto.
Yeah,
I will happily watch the Blue Jays and go, okay, what I'm thinking about is anything other than Drake for this game. Marlon, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for being here. You're the best. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Marlon Palmer is a comedian, a podcaster, and hosts the morning show on Flow 98.7 in Toronto. Meanwhile, Game 3 of the Jays vs. Dodgers series kicks off tonight in Los Angeles, and Vybz Kartel has his second concert tonight and a final one on Thursday at Scotiabank Arena. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This show is called Commotion. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow. We'd love to see you then.